you can.
Yep.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this program of the University of Arkansas Small Business Technology and Development Center. We are so pleased to be able to bring you these educational programs to help support small businesses. Please be advised that we will be recording this conversation for education purposes. You'll be able to access these recordings and all of our past workshops and webinars at our website, and we will post that link in the chat. I'll introduce Chris momentarily, but first I'd like to introduce us and tell you a little about ASB TDC. I'm Kate, a marketing consultant with the Small Business Center and an undergraduate student at the University of Arkansas. If you don't already know about the Small Business Development Center, it's a one-stop shop for startups and existing small businesses. We're associated with the University of Arkansas and affiliated with the SBA and statewide ASB TDC, as well as a national network of more than 1,000 small business centers. Locally, we offer complimentary one-on-one consulting and programs like this one, covering the relevant topics for business owners, and if you're not already a client, we encourage you to visit us at sbtdc.uark.edu. Today, we're bringing you PowerPoint 201 with Chris Case. Please feel free to post your questions in the chat box. We'll be monitoring that closely, and if you want to ask a question anonymously, then you can post your questions in the Q&A. We also want to get to know you. So please post in the chat your full name if it isn't already there and your level of expertise with PowerPoint, because that will be very helpful to Chris throughout the presentation. And now, without further hesitation, we'll turn it over to Chris.
Great. Okay, let me share. Kate, can you see my screen okay?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, and also you guys, if you guys registered under a particular name, go ahead and send us what your name, your full name is. Julie kind of likes to keep track of everybody that attends these, so I want to make sure that she gets the full names. Again, like I said, and I'm going to repeat it again and again, don't worry about all the steps I'm going to be talking about today, because I'm going to be throwing a lot of stuff at you. Every time I look at my presentation, I keep adding more and more stuff. So I apologize for doing that, but I want to show you everything that PowerPoint can do, and it is so important to see all of that. So first, let's talk a little bit about etiquette, because I've been getting a lot of you guys that have been sending me your PowerPoint so I can take a look at. And some of them can be a little bit busy. So it's kind of going back to the rules of three. You want to keep everything in threes. You want to keep no more than three different fonts, three different colors, three different movements. I'm going to talk about transitioning and animation today, and even adding a video. So you don't want a whole lot of different movement on your screen. So if you can just remember that the rule of threes, it really applies in PowerPoint. So here is one. None of you guys said this to me. I actually went out and looked it up. This is an example of a very busy PowerPoint. It's got a lot of information on there. You know, people are going to be reading as you're presenting. Unless this is going to be an informational PowerPoint that somebody's going to be doing on their own or looking at on their own time, this is way too much information. So I narrowed this down to this slide. So again, if you're presenting, it's a little bit of a different rule. If you're presenting, less is more. But if you're going to have this for an informational PowerPoint, then you're probably going to want to add a little bit more text than what I did here. So if I'm presenting, you know, I'm just going to say, let's talk about first impression. First, be on time, and then I'll expand on that. Then I'll go to be prepared, overall grooming, and so forth. Here's another example. A lot of people think it's great to add information or pictures in the background, and this is great. This is a watermark, and you can actually do this, but again, it's hard to see the contrast. Everything's a little bit fuzzy. The car in the back is a little bit bright, so I changed that one to something like this. And again, just if I'm going to be speaking on it, I don't want very much on there, because I don't want people to be reading as I'm talking to them. I want them to be paying attention to me and what I'm saying. So that's another example. Let's go on to images, tables, and charts. We're going to talk about a lot of different visual things today to really bring your PowerPoints to life. And again, there's so many different ways of doing this. Don't hesitate to reach out to me to ask for the steps or for more information, or for me to take a look at this, because it is a lot of information with what you can do in PowerPoint. Okay, this is my number one question I get a lot. Not about, is that my horse? Because it is, but I get this question about, it's fuzzy. I took a picture, I printed it, I put it out on here, and it's fuzzy. You don't ever want to have something like this, because it really does, no matter how great your PowerPoint is, when it gets to your graphic or your movies or your shapes, anything that you add visual, you really want it to be crisp. I am also going to tell you, though, later on how PowerPoint, believe it or not, every time you opens it, tries to kind of dilute the picture a little bit to kind of compact PowerPoint. So I'm going to show you how to turn that off if you're interested. So here's another example. I've got this example of the horse, and I'm going to go back into PowerPoint so I can show you the steps as I'm doing this. But this is a lot more crisp than what it was before. Let me hit escape so I can get right into PowerPoint and show you. I just kind of wanted to show you what the etiquette part of PowerPoint looks like, and then now we'll move to the images. But here's what I did. I went out and I found this image. It was an image of mine. It could be an image on the internet. And what you do is, when you right click, you can copy and bring it into your PowerPoint. A lot of times you're going to get this, especially if you try to expand it. So what I did to get this a little bit more crisp, I actually went out, I found my image, I clicked on my image, and then I clicked on it again, so it brought it up in its home. And then I right clicked, view image, and it brings it in a lot more crisp. And then I right clicked and I copied. So with your images, it's going to be different for the images where you're bringing them from. So I really want you to reach out to me if you guys are using images. I'll really kind of walk through how that particular image for you can come in here as crisp as this image right here. Okay. Now, even though it's crisp, with PowerPoint, you can even do a lot more with this. So I'm going to click on the picture. Now, remember, for you guys that didn't take the beginner class, and again, you can go back and rewatch that. It's out on our website. But what you do every time you add something, if it's a text box, if it's a picture, a movie, once you click on that image, there's going to also be, almost always, a ribbon that pops up here. Just like we've got the home ribbon, the insert all the way over. If I click outside of it, you see that picture format ribbon go away. If I click in it, there's that picture format ribbon. So I'm going to click on that. There's all my changes that I can do for that image. So when you click on something, you will see that particular ribbon come up on the right. And if you click on it, that will show you everything that you need to do to change an image, a video, a picture, a shape. It doesn't matter what it is. You'll have all the different options up here. Okay, so coming over to the left, you can actually edit a lot of things on this image. You can make it a little bit more transparent. You can add some artistic, some color. So you can really edit this any way you want. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll put on a border, or I'll go in and kind of change the picture effect a little bit. So let me show you. Up here are the picture styles. If I click that little tiny down button, it's going to show me all these different things that I can do to this picture. Here's my favorite. I'm going to click on this one right here. I just like the rounded corners. It looks like I've really professionally taken this picture, and it looks a lot more professional inside here. You can also go over here to more picture effects and add shadows and bevel and everything that you want to. I don't get too fancy with my transitioning, my animation, or even my pictures. I really try to make it very crisp and clean, and just not a whole lot of busy stuff on my PowerPoints. You can also come over here. A lot of people do a lot of cropping. So if I click on this crop button, maybe there's too much empty space over here on the right. Then I can come over and edit this out. Maybe I want more of her head, and I'm just going to edit both sides. There we go. So you can completely customize and kind of crop out anything that you don't want in there. And again, after you have the picture, and I'm going to show you how to insert it, but after you put a picture in there, the key thing is if you click on it, you want to make sure that you find that ribbon, and it's always to the far right, but get that ribbon. When you click on it, it will give you all the different options. Okay, let me come in here. I'm going to actually show you. I'm going to insert a new slide because a lot of people say, like I said earlier, there's a lot of different ways to insert pictures and videos and so forth. But I'm going to insert a slide. And if I click on this bottom part, do you see that new slide up there on the home ribbon? If I click on the bottom part of that, I'm going to come in here. And these are my two slides I use a lot. The title slide is when it's the very first slide or a different section. And then I use my title and content slide for things like this. So when I click on that, you've got all these buttons in a new slide. You can add a table. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. You can add a chart. You can get fancy and add the smart art. You can add pictures. Here's just pictures on your computer or pictures on the stock images that are legal to do. So I usually do the stock images because I'm not going to get in trouble for using any of those. And then we're going to insert a video later on. So let me just go to a stock image. I'm going to click on this stock image button right there, and it's going to allow me to select a category. And maybe I want people at work. It kind of narrows it down just a little bit more. If I do people at home, it'll show more images of that. So I'm just going to come in here and click on one of them. And when I select it, I'm going to click on insert. And when it comes in, it will come in and probably not the size that you want it to. You might want to make it a little bit bigger. You might want to customize it like we did before. But don't forget, if any of you guys missed the first PowerPoint, over here at the right, what PowerPoint and Microsoft did that is the biggest help of PowerPoint is they added design ideas. So they had a lot of professionals come up with the right font to use with this picture, the right kind of background colors. So if you go over here to the right, you've got all these different options to choose from. And if you scroll all the way down and don't like any of those, you can see more design options right there and keep scrolling down. So I'm going to go ahead. I kind of like this one right here where it takes up the whole page, and I like the rounded corners again. Okay. If you want to change anything about it again, let me just escape so I do not have it selected. If I want to change, maybe I want to resize it. I want to add something on top of it. I'm going to click on that. There's my picture format ribbon, and here's all of my different options. Okay. Okay, let's go on to this one. I wanted to show you something else that really is helpful. So here's a picture again. I did it the wrong way. I went out on the internet, I right-clicked on it, I brought it in, I resized it. It didn't really resize very good. So what I did was I went out and I did it a little bit different. I went out and I clicked on the picture, went to kind of the home source of where that picture was. And then a lot of times there's some option in there for you to click on copy and bring it in here, and it will be a little bit more crisp. But notice here, it still isn't as crisp as what I want it to be. So the eyes, for some reason, I just want it to be as clean as possible. You can sharpen an image even more. Even though it looks pretty darn perfect right there, you can sharpen an image even more than what it is. So what I'm going to do, here's the steps. I'm going to go ahead and right click on this image, and down toward the bottom is format picture. And I've got all these different options over here to the right, but I'm going to click on that last option that's picture. And then if I go down here to picture corrections, I'm going to sharpen this. There's sharpness right here. Now watch what happens, and I'm going to show you the difference. I'm going to undo and redo so you can see it. I'm going to actually sharpen this, and I usually sharpen it about 35 to 40%. I'll just do 35%. Okay, let me close this out. Okay, let me show you. I'm going to undo and redo so you can see the difference. And notice the eyes. If I undo, see how it gets a little bit faded? And hopefully you guys can see that the overall picture does, but the eyes really do. There's redo. There's undo. Looks a little bit fuzzy now, doesn't it, after you do it a little bit more? and there's redo. So even with your pictures, if you guys have pictures in here and it's going to be up on a big screen, you're going to want it as sharp and crisp as you can get it. So make sure you get a hold of me and we'll kind of clean up that image. There are a million different things you can do to clean it up and to make it really, really sharp. Okay, here was what I was telling you before. I don't like that PowerPoint does this, and I wish I could explain it. But what they do is they have a default turned on to whenever you close out of your PowerPoint and open it back up, it tries to change the resolution of your picture to make it more compact so the PowerPoint isn't as large. I get why they're doing it. They kind of want to do it so you can put it on a flash drive or easily send it. But still, it seems like every time you open it, the resolution, and you might not even really notice, but up on a big screen you will, it just kind of goes down just a little bit. So what I have done, and I can walk you through this and kind of explain to you if you want to do this or not, but I've gone into File and all the way down to Options, and then over here to Advanced. Down here under Image Size and Quality, I actually put the check mark in, do not compress my images. In other words, don't think for yourself, PowerPoint, I've got the image the way I want. It's crisp. I know it's going to take up a lot of room, but I want that image to be as clean as possible. And so I'll put that check mark in there and click on OK. And then it's not going to touch this PowerPoint, which has saved me many times. I thought my images looked great, and then I get up there to present, and I get them up on the screen, and the audience might not notice, but I notice that they're not as crisp as what I want them to be. Okay, let's go to transitions and animations. And I talked about this a little bit in PowerPoint 101, but I'm going to actually take it to the next level. Transitions is how you want your slides to come in. Do you want them to just pop in like they normally do, or do you want them to slide in from the left? Do you want them to fade in? You can do a lot of different things with transitions. Animations is more for the information and the content within the slide. So remember in PowerPoint 1, I said that everything in here is a text box, other than if you add a table or an image, but this is a text box. So if you want that text box to come in a little bit different, that's going to be an animation. If you want bullet points to come in one by one, that's going to be an animation. So transition is for the overall slide. Animations are for the content within the slide. So let's do the transition first. As a default, let me go down here and I'm going to just present. I'm going to click on that present button. It automatically just pops in right now. If I click again, see how they just pop in? Well, maybe I don't want them to pop in. Maybe I want them to change a little bit. Last time I said our average attention span is about 7 minutes, or that's what it was a couple of years ago. I think it's probably more like about 3 or 4 minutes. So if you're giving a PowerPoint and you kind of want to shake it up a little bit, transition is a really good way to do it, because you might have all your slides come in normal, and then you get to a point that you really want to capture their attention, or you want to make sure that it has some kind of an effect. You might want to transition the slide in a different way. So I'm going to come up here. I'm on the slide that I want to transition. I'm going to come up here to transitions so I can see the transitions ribbon. And then I'm going to go ahead and look at a couple. There's wipe. There's push. I like fade. Fade is kind of neat. But here's reveal. See how that's kind of fading out, fading back in. And then cut. And there's a bunch of different options out there. So you can, when you see this, you can just go ahead and do the preview, or just like I'm doing it every time it changes, it automatically comes in with the new one. But I like to see, if I've applied one, I like to see the PowerPoint. So I'm going to go up to the slide above it. When I click, oh, I must not have selected one. Let me do the reveal. That's my favorite one. Okay, there we go. I just like to see it up on the screen, because then you can really see the effect, and if you like that. So I will slip in a couple transitions. I will never have every slide transition in. That just kind of gets a little monotonous. Remember I said in threes? I will maybe do 1 or 2 transitions throughout my PowerPoint just to recapture their attention. You can also come over here to effects option, and smoothly from right, smoothly from left. Again, you can change it any way that you want to. You can change how quick it comes in. You can change if you want it to come in when you click. Maybe it's going to come in automatically. So you can change anything about that transition that you want. But there are a lot of different transitions out here that you can choose from. There's honeycomb. Again, do you see why you don't do this for every slide? It's just, again, it's going to get a little monotonous if you do something like that. Okay, so that's a transition. And again, that applies for the overall slide coming in. Now let's talk about animation. And I'm going to show you guys a little bit more than what I did the last time. Because again, if you guys are presenting, you want people focused on what you're talking about. And so these bullets, maybe you want a bullet to slide in, and when the next bullet slides in, you want the first bullet to be faded a light gray. So they're not focused on that one. They're focused on the second bullet or the bullet that you're talking about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to animations. I'm going to go ahead and click on this text box. And remember, just as a reminder, there's two different edit modes with these text boxes. Did you notice when I clicked on it one time, you've got the dotted line going all the way around it? That's the first edit mode. So anything I apply to that, like if I want to bold something, let me go back to home. I click on B to bold. It's only going to do where my cursor's in because I'm in the first edit mode. If I click on the border, or you can also do a control and click, then it selects everything. Maybe I italicize, I bold. Let me go ahead and take those off. So again, there's two different edit modes. It really doesn't matter. You can get to the second edit mode a couple different ways, but I just want you to know that if you click once inside of your text box, it's only going to change whatever you've clicked. And I've accidentally right there clicked in the word training. You want to make sure that the dotted line is solid, which means that it's in the second edit mode, and anything that you apply to it will apply to everything within that box, that text box. Okay, so I'm going to come up back here up to animations. So what I want to do is I want each one of these to slide in right now, because if you see it, let me go back down to my presentation, it just kind of pops in like that. So I want to go ahead and make it a little bit fancier. So I'm going to come up here and you can do appear. Here's fade. Here's fly in. There's all these different things that you can do. Wipe. Here's shape. That's kind of a neat one. Okay, so when I go down here, let me show you again from the view. You know, I talk about first quarter and then I click, and here's my first one that comes in. So then I can talk about and explain the employee surveys, and then I go on to my next topic and my third topic. Okay, but let's take this a step further. Let's say that we want to change how it looks when it's coming in. We want maybe it to gray out some of it. We maybe want it to change a different color. There's a lot of different things that you can do. So I'm going to come up here to shape effects. Look at all these different options that you can do here. You can also have them even come in at one time. You can have them come in more by paragraph. So you can choose any way that you want them to come in by the effects. Let me turn on the animation pane over here. I'm going to click on this button, animation pane. It's going to show me all of my animations over there, and I can edit from there. It's just kind of easier because it's just always over there. So any of my animations, I can make changes immediately. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the drop down arrow beside that. And here again, you can choose all the timing. You can choose if you want it to hide afterwards. I usually do this. I'm going to do the effect option, enhancements. So do I want sound, after animation, animation text? What do I want to do here? Here's what I do. After animation, I will change this because the default is don't dim. I always change that to a lighter gray. And let me show you why. I'm going to click on OK. I'm going to show you my PowerPoint. So first, again, I'm going to talk about employee surveys. I want the whole audience focused on what I'm saying there. When I click again, that grays out, and you can have it a darker gray if you want to, or a different color, but you want that to lighten up. So then now your audience is focused on leadership training. And then my last one is all hands meeting. And again, there's a few steps to that. Don't worry about the steps. Just know that you can do that kind of stuff to your animation. Again, if you're presenting in front of a group of people, you want to make sure that they're focused on the content that you're trying to present. And that's one of the best ways to do that. Okay. You can also do more animations. Look at all these different effects that you can do. Here's one kind of fun here. Let me do the custom path just to show you. So I'm going to just do a custom path like that. It makes no sense. I've never do this, but if you again want a point to really stand out, let me show you what that does. See that? So you can change any kind of customization that you want on these screens. Again, that's a little too much, but it's still a kind of a fun one to do. Let me go back to, I'm going to do pulse. Okay, so that's animation. And again, animation is applied to the content within your slide. It can be to text boxes, it can be to shapes, it can be to pictures. You can have a picture come in twirling if you want to. So any animation is available for you within PowerPoint. Okay, next, shapes and arranging and grouping. In PowerPoint, you're going to be adding a lot of your own stuff and then text and graphics. Sometimes when you bring it in, it goes on top of something and then you wonder where the other content went, or you might just maybe see part of it and you're thinking, okay, how can I bring that to the front? So everything is an object in PowerPoint, and it can go in the back or it could come to the front. So let me first do this. I'm going to first show you how I add graphics to highlight something. Maybe I want it circled. Maybe I want something to really stand out. So I'm going to come up here to my insert ribbon, and I'm going to come over to shapes. I do a lot of this. I'm going to do the oval, and I'm going to draw it around very satisfied. Now that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So what I want to do is I want to edit this. I want the shape fill to be no fill, and I want the shape outline to be red. So then when I'm talking, let me go back to animation. Let me go into fly in. So again, and I would apply this to everything that I'm talking about. When you want people to focus on what you're talking about, I'm going to go to the slide presentation so you can see. So as I'm presenting, I'm telling you guys that you have 5 different options that you can choose when evaluating. The first one is, and then I click, very satisfied. So let me tell you what very satisfied means. So then I would kind of go on and explain that. I would then probably do the same thing for satisfied, neither satisfied nor dissatisfied, and on and on. So again, this is adding a shape, editing that shape, and then adding animation to that shape to where you can see what you're talking about as you're talking about the evaluations. Let's go to the shapes. So this is where I want to show you kind of how to arrange things, how to bring things in front, and then how to group something together so you don't have to move them all separately. So right now I've got the red circle in the back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the red circle. And again, remember, there's a shape format. There's always a ribbon that comes up that has all the options that you want to perform for that shape. You can also right click. You'll see me if you guys are standing over my shoulder and I'm creating a PowerPoint presentation. I do a lot of right clicking. So it's just a different way of getting there. But here's the options: bring forward, send backwards. So I'm going to bring that forward, and every time I do, let me make it a little bit bigger. It'll bring it forward one at a time. I'm going to send it back and bring it forward. So again, maybe I want then the triangle. I want to bring that forward. So again, if you've got a shape, if you've got a picture, if you've placed text on top of a picture and you can't see the text, maybe it got hidden behind the picture, maybe the picture came forward accidentally. So you can arrange this any way you want to. And then what I usually do is after I have something arranged, I will go ahead and click on all of these, and I'm just holding down my shift key. There is a group option. If I click on group and group again, it now makes it one item. So I can move it around. I have a lot of people do that because they've added their logo and then they maybe added a little bit of a tagline or something. And every time they move it, they think they have to move both separately and line them up. You can actually select them both and move them at the same time, or you can group them together and move them as one object. And then again, maybe I've changed my mind and I want to ungroup them. I have the object now selected. I go to group and ungroup, okay? Again, people waste a lot of time in PowerPoint because they don't know that they can do stuff like this. So it's one of those where if you know that there's so many shortcuts of customizing it the way that you want to customize it, it's going to save you a lot of time. Okay, let's go on to adding videos, and then I'm going to see if there's any questions. So there's a lot of different ways to add videos, and there's a lot of videos out there that you guys can bring in on your own. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring in a video that I created. So I'm going to come over here, and I've already got the slide set up. Now remember, you've got these little buttons down here. If you've selected the title and content slide, you can just go ahead and select this movie button from here. Or you can go up here to insert and do it from there. It's way over here to the right. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on the icon right here in my screen. And I'm going to go ahead and select my video. And Kate, just to double check, because we had some issues the last time, can you see the black box up there indicating my video?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so then I've added the video. And as I'm doing my presentation, this is what it's going to look like. I come to this slide and I say, okay, let me show you a video that we've talked about before and about emotional intelligence. Yeah. Then I go ahead and click. Let me hit escape. It's as easy as that to add a video. Again, let me delete this. If you have the slide, again, what I did, it's this content, title and content slide. It'll automatically have those buttons up there. If it doesn't have those buttons up there that has a movie, you can go to insert and way over to the right, and there's video. I keep calling it me, same thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on this again, add mine, and mine just happens to be right there. You might have to go through and find your movie, and I'm going to click on insert, and there it is. But here, let me add this. When I'm doing a presentation and it's up on a big screen, even everything in your PowerPoints and how you have it set up and displayed is going to really play into how good your presentation is. So if I get to this, I probably don't want it to just be a black box. So there's different things that you can do to really kind of spiff this up a little bit. I'm going to hit escape. So what I did, I'm going to go down here. You can set up what it's called a hyperlink. You can hyperlink anything to text, to a graphic, to a picture, anything that you want. So what I did here is I actually did it to the text and to the picture, just to show you the difference. In this example, I probably wouldn't have done it to the text. I probably would have had that as my bold title and just done the link, applied the link to the picture. So let me show you what this does. So I get to my segment in my presentation about emotional intelligence, and I talk a little bit about emotional intelligence, and then I say, well, let's watch a video that's going to explain a little bit more. Since it's linked, I can click on this, and it will automatically go into the video. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I can actually do it that way. Let me close this out. There we go. Oop. Okay. I had to get out of that for a little bit. So what I did there, again, it was just a little bit more professional. It brings me up to this slide. I can click on that. It will show the video, and then I can get right back here into PowerPoint. I also did the same thing with the text, but again, I just think it's so much more professional if you have some kind of an object in there that you've applied the link to. So let me hit escape. So what you do here is if I click on this, and I'm going to go back into insert, the link button is right there in the middle. So that the link, it's like a hyperlink that you see out on the internet. What it's going to do is it's going to link you to a website, to a movie, to anything that you want it to link you to. An Excel spreadsheet, we talked about that the last time. So you can use that button to link anything to anything within all of the Microsoft products. So when I did that, I just clicked on this link button. It's asking me where that movie is, and I just know that it's under Chris, it's under Zoom recordings, and emotional intelligence. Okay. So You can add a video and it's going to just come up with the black box, or you can tie a video to text, or you can tie a video to a graphic. Now, let me change some other things that I don't particularly like about this. If I go into this picture, okay, you can change again how it looks. You can change if you want it to have a border. You can change if you want to crop the picture a little bit. Let me back up here to the next slide here. Let's say, for example, you just want it to come in and take up the whole screen automatically. So with a video, you can do anything that you want to. I'm going to click on this video, and up here under video format, here's all the different options that I can change about that video format. Okay, let me do playback. There's even more options right there. Okay, so you can get as fancy as you want with your videos. You can have them fade in. Maybe you don't want the entire video. You can trim the video. Okay, let me show you a couple things. So I've trimmed a video quite a bit, and that's just kind of shortening it from side to side. But here's what's really neat is the fade in. I'm going to change that to about 75. Well, let me go a little bit, 125. Okay, let me show you what this looks like. So when I go to the presentation and I click on it, it's fading in slowly. You're going to hear that over and over again. Hey, everybody. So you can fade it in. You can even come over and you can change the volume. If maybe the video that you inserted in is a little bit too loud, a lot of times the speakers at your presentation are going to be able to be adjusted, but you can do something like that. You can also play full screen. I turn that on a lot. So the minute I go into this and I click, it'll automatically go full screen. Okay. You can loop it until it's stopped. Maybe it's a short video and you're showing it and then you're going to talk about a point and then you want to show it again. It can loop. It can rewind after playing. So again, this video that you guys insert can do anything that you want it to. You don't have to take it out to another application or software in order to add the fading or to trim something out. You can do it that way. Here's another thing that I do quite a bit is the bookmark. So let me come down here. Let me click on that. Finish that there. Okay. So the bookmark, let's say in my video, because I use the same video a lot of times, several times throughout my presentation, and I don't want to play it from the beginning. So I've got a video and I maybe play the first couple minutes and I do all my content information. I provide all that. And then I want to start again, but I want to start in the middle without starting the video all over. So down here, and you're going to know your video. So I know that I want to stop at about 5 minutes. So I'm going to do that 5 minutes. I'll just do 5:02. And then I'm going to come up and do bookmark and it bookmark that. So then when I come in, I can automatically, when I do this, click on the bookmark and automatically go where I need to go in that video. Okay. And again, videos, you guys, it's one of those things you don't have to add. I'll add pictures, I'll add some shapes, I'll add some color that way. I don't add a video to every PowerPoint, but if you do, and you're really gonna create a PowerPoint that's really gonna make an impact, a video is one of the best ways to do that. So again, I went over a lot of steps with the video. Just know that you can insert it, change it, you can trim it, you can bookmark it. You can do just about anything that you want with that video without taking it out to another software program like a lot of people do. PowerPoint is really built in just about everything you need when you're editing videos inside of its own application. Okay, Kate, I know I have gone over a lot of information. Does anybody have any questions in the chat?
It is not looking like anyone has asked a question in the chat yet.
Will you give them my email address? And I know it's on there too, but make sure that you put that in the chat box because I want to make sure that you guys email me whenever you guys have any questions at all.
Oh, we actually just got a question from Teresa. Okay. Are there any colors you should stay away from in PowerPoints? I
stay away from like the bright yellow, the bright red, black. I kind of try to make mine a little bit softer. But again, Teresa, it's going to be up to you what your PowerPoint is. It might be something that you're going to want red in. Maybe it's school colors. You're going to be doing something for a high school, for example. But I don't like any stark colors. I like softer colors because it's easier, especially if you're presenting and you're wanting people to pay attention. The softer colors really do a lot better. You are welcome. Any other questions? Okay, again, you guys, I know I went over a lot, but just know I wanted the difference between transition and animations. Transition is for the overall slide. Animations are for the objects or the content within the slide. Then I wanted to show you about objects, how you can move objects around or even text boxes. So one's on top of the other or how you want it displayed. And then I also wanted to show you how easy it is to add a video. Now you can get all fancy like I was doing, or you could just add the video, but how easy it is to just add a video and really spiff up your presentation. If there's not any other questions, again, Kate, I see that you put my email in there, and I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. But please don't hesitate to email me. And I know you guys, a lot of you guys have been doing it, and I really appreciate it. But email me. You can send me your PowerPoint, and I can take a look at it. But please reach out to me because I know that I don't slow down to go over the steps a couple times. I just want to go over all the great features that are in PowerPoint. Kate, I'll pass it back over to you.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you guys again for being here. As a registrant and attendee of this conversation, you'll be emailed a copy of this recording as well as a brief survey that will help us continue to serve you and bring you quality programs. You can find a full listing of our workshops at sbtdc.uark.edu, and you can use the QR code on the screen to sign up for notifications or become a client. We are also posting on social media, so make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Please stay in touch, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.